have you ever just looked at a shopping receipt and really wondered what's going on with all those numbers? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the hidden math behind that final price you pay at the counter. Let's dive right in.
Yeah, you know that feeling, right? You see the price on the shelf, then there's the big total at the bottom, and a few other lines thrown in between. But how do all those numbers actually link up? What's the real story they're telling us?
So, to really get to the bottom of this, we're going to follow the adventure of a single, simple item, a box of tea. We'll trace its path from the moment the shopkeeper buys it to the second you see that final price tag. And trust me, it's a pretty cool journey.
Okay, so our story doesn't actually start with you at the checkout counter. Nope. It starts way back in the shop's stockroom. It all begins with the very first price, the one that you, the customer, never even see, the shopkeeper's own cost.
So, let's picture it. We've got our friendly neighborhood shopkeeper. Before they can sell you anything, they have to buy their own stock, right? In our case, they're buying a whole bunch of tea that they plan to package up and sell. This is ground zero for our prices journey.
The shopkeeper shells out 3,000 rupees for all that tea. Now, this number is super important. It's called the cost price, and it's basically the bedrock, the starting block that every other number is going to be built on top of. Right, but a shopkeeper isn't running a hobby, are they? They've got to make a living, and that brings us to the next absolutely critical step, pricing for profit.
I mean, this is business 101, isn't it? The price you pay in the store has to be higher than what the shopkeeper paid for it. That little bit extra, that's the profit. It's what keeps the lights on and more tea on the shelves.
So, our shopkeeper does their homework. They look at their rent, their bills, all that stuff, and they decide, okay, I need to make a 20% profit on this tea to make it all worthwhile. And the math here, it's actually pretty straightforward. You just take that initial cost price, the 3,000 rupees, find 20% of it, and boom, that's 600 rupees. That 600 is the slice of the pie that the shopkeeper is aiming to take home. So let's put those two pieces together. You start with the cost, that 3,000 rupees. You add the profit, the 600. And that gives us what's called the selling price, 3,600 rupees. This is the number you'd see on the price tag. But wait, we're not done yet. Not even close. Okay, so we have the price on the shelf. But then there are taxes. And this is where things can get a little tricky. We've got something called GST, the Goods and Services Tax, and it adds a whole new layer to our final bill. Now, here's a key detail you gotta know. This whole transaction is happening within the same state. That's called an intrastate sale. And that's really important because of how the tax gets split up.
For our tea, the government has decided that the GST rate is going to be 5%. So that's the total tax that needs to get tacked on to the sale. And because of that intrastate thing we just talked about, that 5% doesn't go to just one place. It gets sliced right down the middle. Half of it, 2.5%, goes to the central government, that's CGST. And the other half, 2.5%, goes to the state government, or SGST.
All right, we've got the plan, we know the percentages, now let's roll up our sleeves and crunch the numbers to see what this actually looks like in real money.
Okay, this is so important, so pay attention to this part. The tax isn't based on that first number, the original cost price. No way! It's calculated on the selling price, that 3,600 rupee figure we got after the profit was added in.
So, let's do the math together. 2.5% for the central government's share of 3,600 rupees, that's 90 rupees. Then, the state government gets the exact same amount, another 90 rupees. You add those two together and the total tax comes out to 180 rupees. Okay, we have all the puzzle pieces now. We've got the cost, we've got the profit, and we've got the taxes. It's time to put it all together and see what the final bill for the customer actually looks like.
Yeah, think of it just like building a real receipt. We're going to stack each line item up one by one and get to that big final number at the very bottom.
And there you have it. You start with the selling price of 3,600. Then we add on the CGST, that's 90. Then the SGST, another 90. And the grand total, what you actually pay at the counter, is 3,780 rupees. See? Every single rupee has a reason for being there.
So you see, it's not just some random number pulled out of thin air. There's a clear logical story behind it, a step-by-step journey from the warehouse shelf all the way to your shopping bag. It all connects.
So, the next time you're standing in line at a store, I bet you're going to look at that little slip of paper a whole lot differently, aren't you? You won't just see a bunch of numbers, you'll see the whole story.